I. Overall philosophy, adversity, through the lens of destiny, each person's journey of growth. We naturally tend to seek stability, security, and the perfect plans we map out for ourselves. When life-altering events occur such as a failed project, a broken relationship, or an injustice in the workplace, our instinctive reaction is to fall into frustration, resentment, and self-doubt. However, this message offers a revolutionary perspective on mindset. Adversity is not a random accident, but a purposeful intervention. The limitation of human vision, we only see what is happening in the present, the pain, the loss, the injustice, the grand perspective. There is a larger blueprint for your life. Sometimes, your current comfort zone is actually a trap that stifles your potential. Therefore, closed doors or delays are not punishments, but precision tools designed to steer your life onto a much greater trajectory. 2. Analyzing the biblical symbolism. The divine shift from Bethsaida to Gennesaret. This is the core of the message, highlighting the profound symbolism between two locations and the pivotal role of a storm. 1. The paradoxical compulsion. Prior to this event, the disciples had just experienced a glorious peak, the miracle of multiplying the loaves and fish to feed over 5,000 people. They were riding a wave of excitement, basking in the respect of the crowd, and naturally wanted to stay there to enjoy the success. However, the scripture uses a very strong word. Jesus compelled the disciples to get into the boat and cross to the other side toward Bethsaida. The deeper meaning. Jesus knew full well that a massive storm was waiting for them on the sea. He did not send them out to be destroyed. He intentionally pushed them into a challenging environment. This teaches us that there are times we are thrust into harsh circumstances not because we did something wrong, but because it is a necessary rite of passage to reach the next level. 2. Psychology in the night storm and silent companionship. The storm struck in the middle of the night, and the disciples strained at the oars until the fourth watch, roughly between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., the exact time when the human body is most exhausted and the spirit is most vulnerable to panic. The unexpected appearance. Jesus came to them walking on the water. Initially, they failed to recognize him and thought he was a ghost. This perfectly reflects human psychology. When we are in the deepest darkness of adversity, our vision is often clouded by fear, preventing us from recognizing the help or opportunities arriving right beside us. The reassuring message, his words, take courage. It is, I don't be afraid, reveal a profound truth. Jesus did not stop the storm from afar to grant them a smooth voyage. He allowed the storm to happen, watched from a distance, walked through the storm to reach them, and only calmed the wind once the boat had achieved its intended movement. 3. Decoding the two lands. The turning point of destiny. The disciples' original destination was Bethsaida. Yet, the fierce headwind of the storm blew their boat completely off course toward Gennesaret. The stark contrast between these two places holds the key to the entire message. Feature Bethsaida, the original goal Gennesaret. The actual destination post-storm, linguistic meaning associated with a desolate, barren place where only a single miracle had just taken place, known as the Garden of Abundance, the most fertile, prosperous, and vibrant region in Galilee. Potential and opportunity. Merely a temporary pit stop within the disciples' comfort zone. Immense, a bustling hub of people, and a center for widespread societal impact. Display of power. The disciples merely wanted to linger and cling to the aura of the old miracle. As soon as they stepped off the boat, Jesus healed countless sick individuals. It became a land of continuous miracles. The core lesson. The storm, which seemed like a catastrophe destined to sink their journey, actually served as a divine catalyst. Without that fierce midnight wind forcefully redirecting them, the disciples would have landed in the barrenness of Bethsaida. The storm literally forced them into the abundance of Gennesaret. 3. Real life evidences. When adversity becomes a launchpad to prove that this law governs the modern world, just as it did in ancient times, the message shares the profound stories of career redirection. 1. Tony Dungy's story. From the shock of firing to the Super Bowl pinnacle, Tony Dungy spent 6 years as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, successfully rebuilding them from a struggling franchise into a formidable contender. Just when he was poured his heart into the team and envisioned a long-term future there, the front office abruptly fired him following an unexpected playoff loss. A redirection disguised as rejection. For a professional, being fired is a painful and public setback. But Tony chose not to harbor bitterness or play the victim. The explosive outcome. Shortly after, he was recruited by the Indianapolis Colts. There, he had the opportunity to work with elite talent, including superstar Peyton Manning, and ultimately secured his place in football history by winning the prestigious Super Bowl. The reflection, looking back, Tony Dungy admitted that if Tampa Bay had never fired him closing that door, he would have comfortably settled for stability there and never achieved the ultimate crowning glory of his coaching career. The storm of being fired drove him straight to the land of champions. 2. Joel Osteen's personal story. Pain births a legacy. Pastor Joel Osteen shares a deeply personal and moving turning point in his life. He was a classic introvert who genuinely loved working behind the scenes, happily spending 17 years producing television broadcasts for his father, the late Pastor John Osteen at Lakewood Church. He never harbored public ambitions, nor had he ever been trained to preach. The ultimate storm. In 1999, his father suddenly passed away from a heart attack. This devastating storm shattered his emotional anchor and left the church facing a leadership crisis. The compulsion of circumstance. The situation demanded that someone step up to preach the following Sunday. Joel stood at a crossroads, hide in his comfort zone, or step onto the stage with overwhelming fear. He chose to step up. Discovering hidden potential. Being forced out of the dark control room allowed Joel to discover a natural gift for public inspiration that he never knew he possessed. Today, he leads one of the largest churches in America and is a globally best-selling author. The storm of losing his father was an undeniable tragedy, but it was the catalyst required to birth the Joel Osteen the world knows today. IV. Practical, actionable insights for daily life. From this extensive analysis, we can extract 4 major lessons to apply directly to our lives whenever we encounter hardships. 1. Redefine the concept of failure. Failure is not the end of the road. It is simply a route update. Just like a GPS map, when you hit a dead end or heavy traffic, the system doesn't say give up and turn off the engine. It simply flashes rerouting to a better path. When you lose a job, face a rejection, or see a plan fall apart, tell yourself my life's GPS is simply updating the route. 2. Be grateful for headwinds and doors closed by others in the story. It was the violent headwind that ultimately pushed the boat to the correct destination. In real life, the people who reject you, betray you, or make things difficult for you are often the very headwinds that break your stagnation. They force you to grow stronger, change your environment, and seek new horizons. Stop resenting them. They are merely instruments used to propel you toward your GE. Today's comfort zone can become tomorrow's barren land. Disciples wanted to stay where the bread and fish were because it was easy and comfortable. But had they stayed, they would have remained passive consumers of a single miracle instead of becoming active conduits of healing for multitudes in jail. Never cling to old successes or stable but stagnant positions. Sometimes you need a storm to uproot you from cramped soil. 4. Hold on to peace during the 4th watch of your life. The 4th watch is the darkest hour of the night, right before the dawn breaks. It is the exact moment when you feel the most exhausted and tempted to throw in the towel. The message urges you to maintain an inner peace rather than panicking. Remember, when the storm reaches its absolute peak, it is often the exact moment that solutions and new opportunities are walking across the water to step into your boat. The inspirational conclusion: the storm did not come to stop you. It came to clear the path and push you forward faster. Shift your attitude in the face of life's disruptions. Do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather ask, "What is this preparing me for? And which direction is it pointing me to?" Trust that behind every tightly shut door lies a wide-open highway waiting for you, and that the abundant, prosperous, and radiant shores of Gennesaret are waiting for you just on the other side of this storm.